When you beat Chapter 8C in Celeste, you unlock variants. At first, they just seem like a collection of goofy modifiers, such as super dashes, playing as Battlein, and random hiccups. These are fun to mess around with, but you quickly return to the normal game. But it turns out that if you look a little deeper, you can find some surprisingly broken tech. First, let's talk about the super dash. Using this variant gives you a dash that is steerable and lasts twice as long. This is quite overpowered on its own, but it turns out that this variant is even more broken. And that is because it allows you to do this. By spamming down diagonal dashes, you can gain more and more speed. But why does this work? Let me explain. Even though the super dash lasts twice as long, the dash cooldown wasn't increased to match it. That means you can start a dash before the previous one finishes. Additionally, down diagonal dashes preserve your momentum while you're dashing. So, by repeatedly cancelling each dash with another one, you never lose the speed from the previous dashes. Instead, you keep stacking more and more speed until you're moving ridiculously fast. But this isn't the only thing you can do with super dashes. Normally, to perform in Ultra, you need to downright dash onto a platform which is lower than you. However, with super dashes enabled, you can instead do an upright dash to conserve your momentum, and then steer it into a downright dash. Since the dash finishes as a downright dash, the game still lets you perform in Ultra. That means you can Ultra off a platform that's the same height or even higher, instead of needing one below you. This trick is quite useful in super dash speedruns, because it lets you perform Ultras in places where they'd normally be impossible. But super dash isn't the only variant hiding weird tech. The next variant we'll look at is mirror mode. All this variant is supposed to do is flip the screen horizontally. That doesn't sound very useful. But if you press both left and right while this variant is active, this happens. For some reason, Madeline starts rapidly changing direction every frame. My best guess is that since mirror mode only flips the visuals, while the controls still work normally, something breaks when both directions are held. Either way, this weird interaction can actually be used to perform certain task-only strats. While this trick is silly, the next trick completely defeats the purpose of a variant. Next up is the no grabbing variant. In case it isn't obvious, it disables grabbing. Or at least, that's what it's supposed to do. Take a look at this clip. Still not convinced? Well, look at this. Yup, this variant is just completely broken. It turns out it only disables grabbing while you're in normal player states. If you're dashing or inside a bubble, the game still lets you grab walls as if the variant wasn't enabled. So even with no grabbing turned on, you can still perform grab dependent tech that should be impossible. The next trick, however, is something that the normal game could never do. The Hiccup variant is probably the most annoying variant in the game. Every few seconds, it randomly makes you jump, cancels your dash, messes up your bubble and dream block directions, and can completely ruin your timing. But what if we use this annoying mechanic to our advantage? When you hiccup while standing on the ground, the hiccup pushes you into the air, but because you didn't jump off of the ground, the game gives you 36 frames of coyote time. In case you don't know, coyote time is a leniency mechanic that lets you jump a few frames after walking off a ledge. In practice, this means you can jump in midair after hiccuping from the ground. On its own, this acts sort of like a double jump, but if you think about the implications, it gets much sillier. Since you can jump while airborne, you can also perform tech like supers and hypers in midair, something that should be completely impossible. I don't know if this is actually useful anywhere, but it is really funny. So, even though variants were meant to be silly modifiers, they accidentally created some really strange movement options. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and maybe try playing around with the variants yourself. Who knows, you might discover some weird tech that nobody has found yet. If you want to support the channel, you can now become a member. Members get some extra perks like early access to videos and an exclusive Discord channel, and I really appreciate anyone who chooses to support me. You can also join my Discord if you want to hang out outside of these videos, link in the description. Finally, if you enjoyed seeing weird Celeste mechanics, you'll probably like the video on the right, where I explain some of Celeste's weirdest skips.